Pete, season 2024 is upon us, the day before our first home game tomorrow, first game of the season. Are you excited to be back playing competitive cricket here at the lovely Trent Bridge?
I think everybody is. I mean, I think when we do pre-season, we've probably got a longer off-season than most, if I'm honest, because we finish in end of September. Lads go everywhere now with franchise and all sorts, but everybody comes back, and this last part of pre-season probably lasts about 6 weeks, I reckon. So I think the lads have enough of it. We had practice games, we've been away to Abu Dhabi, and you get to the point where you just want to play what you know is competitive cricket. The start of our season, I think, is great in that you have this sort of run of 7 championship games. It's really clean. Yeah, so everybody's very excited, including myself, about starting off tomorrow. And
we were just talking before we started recording, this is your 8th year as head coach here at Notts. Still got that passion as if it was day one?
Yeah, I mean, luckily for me, it's never really felt like a job. So, yeah, the start of the season for me, people think it's always just exciting for head coaches. It's actually different in some ways because there's decisions to make, there's size to pick, you're trying to get everything right, and your job as a head coach really is you're meant to worry a little bit and check we've done this, check we've done that, are we there? And then when you get playing actually as a head coach, often you have a deep breath and you think, right, we're away, we're off, we've done some of the work, and that's quite exciting. And you never quite know exactly how things are going to start. I've had, in all my time there, I've had times when we've lost the first game and then gone out of the best season we've ever had. And times where we've won at the start and it hasn't sort of gone. So a lot of it at the moment is we're trying to build momentum. We're trying to get going, get players feeling good about themselves, playing well. They've prepped up well. And tomorrow starts under a new captain in Has. So, yeah, really excited about it.
So you talked about going away to Abu Dhabi, first pre-season tour abroad since 2019, actually. How was that? How was it? Was it a good bonding session as well as actually being able to get there out in the heat, actually, when you come back here and it's pretty typical English at the moment?
It was a bit of everything, actually. I mean, the bonding thing's always the thing. I think we get it's really important still. In fact, and quite rightly, the fans might think, oh, they're just going on a jolly. And listen, going away as a group is good, I think. But we do both on and off the field. You're trying to get everything going. The best thing about the trip was how it was organised, if I'm honest. Credit to the people that did it. Played in a T20 comp first, which is the first time we've done that pre-season, which actually I liked because it gave an edge to games, a competitive edge, winning, losing on the day. There's a precision needed for bowlers, especially in T20 cricket. So I think that sent a very good mental message to how we would then prep up for our red ball, which was the second half of that tour. And then we've had 2 practice games here, dodging the showers a little bit like everybody else. But yeah, I think we feel like we got the most out of that tour. Different to the tent. We'd had the tent for the last 3 or 4 years before it, which was very good. So we're hoping it's got us ahead of the game, ready for this first batch of games.
So let's talk about the dressing room, because I would say there's quite a significant change in new faces. Some faces we've actually had around for a while and now just at the forefront of being picked in squads and teams, etc. So how is that kind of dressing room shaping up at the moment, and how are the new guys settling in?
Well, I think the biggest compliment I can give to the dressing room probably is the new guys don't feel like new guys anymore. They've been with us all winter. They've now done the pre-season. The last part is to play games together. People like Dylan, Jack, Josh Tong coming in, but also people like Freddie McCann coming through our academy getting the staff. It feels slightly different. Some of what would have started a few years ago as younger players are now becoming senior players. They're taking more responsibility. So there's a new order, like always is every season. That's exciting, and the next few weeks we'll see people step into spaces where they can. We're always trying to leave space for a player to grow into, and often grow on the field but also off it, where they start to help run the team. And teams are run not just by coaches, they're run by senior players. They have to take responsibility to manage and self-police things on and off the field, so we actually make sure that day in, day out when we pitch up, we're ready to represent the club and themselves in a way that everybody's going to think is, one, it's respectful to the opportunity they've got, but 2, it gives us a chance of being successful.
And obviously there's been a big change at the top in terms of who's responsible for the play when they're out on the field, in Has becoming the new club captain. Obviously he's had a long time to settle in terms of, like you say, over the winter and pre-season. But how is he ahead of his first game officially in charge?
Yeah, well, Has is an attention to detail man, which I think is great. So there's a steel runs through him. He's got a clear view on what he expects from people. So I think that message is got across to everybody. He's got some really good support. I think from me as a head coach, but also people like Steve Mulaney now, who's stepped away from the captaincy and now coaching and going to sort of captain the second team. There's some really good people he can bounce ideas off, but he'll form relationships within his side that'll help him, I think, run the team.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. So he's excited. There's no doubt about that. He's looked at the sort of way he wants us to shape up, and I think now he's got a chance to go and live it.
Yeah. So obviously last year was our first year back in Division 1. What did we learn and what are we taking forward kind of from our learnings last year to hopefully make this season a success?
I don't think we played our best cricket, if I'm honest, and we got hurt a couple of times. But what we did show last year was a lot of fight to save games, get out of games, and we played some good cricket at times as well. So I think there's something to really build on. Last year was about cementing a place in the First Division. I think we feel in a much better position now to try and make a push for what I would say to win the trophy, but also get top 3. A lot of that will come down to the quality of players and also the hunger of them, because the county championship is quite a brutal comp.
It's relentless
keeps coming.
as well.
It's relentless.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a real desire to put the work in, day in, day out, to get yourself up for it, to be there as a group, to put sides under pressure. 4-day wins are brilliant to be involved in because the work it's taken to get there.
So what are your expectations then? I know obviously as a club, as a team, as a head coach, you're always going to want to win and be the best you can possibly be. But what's those expectations that we're kind of talking to the guys about in the dressing room at the moment?
Well, we've got our own ways of doing things that break the game down. And they're for us to know, and other people they're the inner workings of a team. So we'll have those we'll work to. My expectation of the group is that it's a competitive squad. There's a lot of people who won't play over the next 4 days who would push really hard to get in. So I expect the 11 blokes walking on the field to play in a way that respects that. And I expect every team we put out to be competitive. But the reality of it, this division taught us last year, if you're not on, then you can get hurt.
Yeah. So then bring it back to this game, our opening game of the season. How do we match up to Essex? What are we kind of going into that thinking that we can take to them?
We had some good scraps with Essex, actually. We played well against Essex at different times, and they're always a good team. I mean, they're one of the form teams from last season, really. Finished second, I think, last year. So they're really good opposition. But what we'll bring to them, hopefully, is a consistency and a way of playing at Trent Bridge that we know really well. And that comes with bat and ball. That'll put them in pressure over a long period of time. So getting Ben Duckett in the side is great. We'll just have to wait and see. The beauty of this time of year is there'll be stories that are going to be written about not just this game but a season.
Yeah,
and
fresh slate.
Fresh slate. Everybody's got the opportunity. And often by the end of a season, there's 2 players who've come from nowhere to do something. And teams also sometimes come from nowhere. So I think we're in a good position at the moment, having played last season in this division, and we know what we're going to expect.
Well, let's hope the English weather is kind to us over the next 4 days, and thank you very much for joining us, Pete.
Thanks, Kirst.